Stop right now. Stop splitting your attention. Stop letting your mind scatter in a million directions. Every notification, every half-finished task, every second you think multitasking is making you efficient, it's stealing your mental power. Today, you will learn how to take back control. You will train your brain to focus like a laser, to finish tasks faster, think more clearly, and achieve more than you ever thought possible. By the end of this session, scattered attention will be a thing of the past. Your mind will work for you, not against you. Chapter 1. Stop multitasking. Focus like your life depends on it. You have a choice. Right now, you can continue splitting your attention, or you can reclaim it. You can continue attempting to do many things at once, or you can choose to do one thing fully, deliberately, without compromise. That is the decision. There's no middle ground. Multitasking is a lie. Your brain cannot perform two complex tasks at once. It cannot divide attention and maintain quality. Every switch, every distraction, every attempt to split focus comes with a cost. That cost is productivity. That cost is clarity. That cost is time you will never recover. You have a choice. Stop believing in the myth. Stop allowing your mind to be fragmented. Focus is your superpower. Protect it. Focus is your superpower. Protect it. Consider the research. Studies consistently show that productivity drops as much as 40% when people attempt to multitask. 40%. That is not minor. That is catastrophic. It is not just slower work. It is inferior work. Errors increase. Decisions deteriorate. Creativity diminishes. Multitasking is not efficiency. It is sabotage. You have a choice. You can continue sabotaging yourself, or you can stop. That is the key. Multitasking is not a skill. It is an addiction to distraction. It is a preference for urgency over importance. It is a habit that rewards immediate gratification and punishes long-term results. You do not need their permission to change this habit. You do not need validation from the world to focus. You have a choice. You can practice discipline. You can reclaim your attention. That is the key. Understand the mechanics. When you switch tasks, your brain undergoes what is called a switch cost. Every time you move from one task to another, your mind must disengage from the previous task. It must refocus. It must rebuild context. That process consumes time, energy, and mental clarity. It is invisible, but it is real. It is measurable. You have a choice. You can allow this erosion of attention, or you can stop it. That is the key. The cost of multitasking is not just productivity. It is cognitive fatigue. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, planning, and focus, becomes overtaxed. You feel tired. You feel scattered. You feel incapable of sustained concentration. That fatigue is avoidable. You have a choice. You can structure your mind for single tasking, or you can surrender it to distraction. That is the key. Now, consider the real-world application. Imagine a professional attempting to respond to emails, attend a meeting, and draft a report simultaneously. Their attention divides. The report is incomplete. The emails are delayed. The meeting is ineffective. 40% of potential output is lost. That is not a hypothetical. That is reality. You have a choice. You can accept that outcome, or you can change the system. That is the key. You will apply this knowledge immediately. Here is the rule. One task at a time. Always. No exceptions. Decide the single most important task. Commit to it fully. Remove all distractions. Do not glance at your phone. Do not check notifications. Do not allow the environment to interrupt you. That is the system. That is the discipline. You have a choice. Implement it. That is the key. Another principle. Schedule your attention. Focus is a resource. It is not unlimited. You must allocate it deliberately. Block time for deep work. block time for reflection, block time for planning. Treat these periods as non-negotiable. Protect them like you would protect a valuable asset. Focus is your superpower. Protect it. Focus is your superpower. Protect it. You will also track your mental energy. Pay attention to when you are most alert. Schedule demanding tasks for those periods. Do not attempt critical thinking when your mind is fatigued. Do not attempt creativity when your attention is scattered. You have a choice. You can align your work with your mental rhythms, or you can fight your biology and fail. That is the key. Here is a behavioral rule. Minimize task switching. Every time you interrupt a task for another, reset the timer in your mind. Every time you switch context, you pay the invisible cost. Keep a log of interruptions. Notice patterns. Eliminate them systematically. That is how the mind is trained. That is how attention becomes disciplined. You have a choice. Follow the rule. That is the key. Another operational system. Use deliberate batching. Group similar tasks together. Handle emails in a single block. Schedule phone calls consecutively. Write reports in uninterrupted stretches. Let the brain complete one type of work before shifting. That is how efficiency becomes automatic. That is how multitasking loses its grip. You have a choice. Implement batching. That is the key. Consider the psychological aspect. Multitasking feels productive. It feels urgent. It feels necessary. But feelings are not facts. Urgency is not value. Doing many things poorly is not efficiency. Focused action is productive. Focused action is effective. Focused action delivers results. You have a choice. Reject feelings that contradict results. That is the key. You will also create external structures to protect internal focus. Silence notifications. Close and use tabs. Remove visual clutter. Inform colleagues or family of focus periods. Your environment should reinforce your attention, not fragment it. Discipline your surroundings as you discipline your mind. That is the system. That is the rule. You have a choice. Apply it. That is the key. Finally, internalize the mantra. Focus is your superpower. Protect it. Focus is your superpower. Protect it. Repeat it until the principle becomes automatic. Repeat it until your mind resists distraction by default. Repeat it until single tasking is not a choice, but a natural mode of operation. That is your training. That is your system. You have a choice. Make it permanent. That is the key. You do not need permission. You do not need approval. You do not need validation. Focus is within your control. Your attention is yours to command. You will exercise authority over it. You will build a structure, a system, and a habit that eliminates multitasking. You have a choice. Choose focus. That is the key. To conclude this chapter, you have learned why multitasking is a myth. You have observed the invisible costs: lost productivity, mental fatigue, inferior work. You have established the rules: one task at a time, schedule attention, minimize switching, batch similar work, control your environment. You have repeated the reinforcement. Focus is your superpower. Protect it. That is the principle. That is the rule. That is the system. Next, you will examine the shocking truth about your fragmented mind. You will understand why your brain craves distraction and why your habits have been eroding your attention for years. You will see the mechanisms that hijack focus, and you will learn how to reclaim it completely. That is where training becomes transformation. Chapter 2. The shocking truth about your fragmented mind. You have a choice. You can allow your mind to be hijacked by constant interruptions, or you can reclaim it. That is the decision. There is no debate. There's no compromise. Your attention is currency. Every distraction steals your wealth. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Your brain did not evolve to handle the digital barrage of notifications, messages, alerts, and pings. It evolved to focus on one task at a time. It evolved to scan, assess, and act deliberately. It did not evolve to check email every 5 minutes, scroll social media endlessly, or respond immediately to every ping. Yet you do it. You have a choice. Stop surrendering your mind to habit. That is the key. Digital distractions are not neutral. Every alert is a hijack. Every notification triggers dopamine. Your brain begins to crave interruption. Your focus deteriorates. Deep work becomes difficult. Complex problem solving becomes nearly impossible. You do not need permission from anyone to control this. You have a choice. You will reclaim your attention. That is the key. Consider the evidence. Studies consistently demonstrate that the average knowledge worker is interrupted every 11 minutes. Even brief distractions can cost up to 23 minutes to regain full focus. Think about it. Every day, attention is fragmented. Projects take longer. Creativity diminishes. Mistakes increase. You have a choice. Allow your attention to be stolen or enforce control. That is the key. Look at real-world consequences. A software developer fails to meet a critical deadline because Slack notifications continuously pulled them away. An analyst submits an incomplete report after jumping between emails, dashboards, and meetings. A lawyer misses a key argument because their focus was divided by constant pings. These are not rare cases. They are the rule. High-stakes projects collapse when attention is fragmented. You have a choice. Stop the collapse. That is the key. Fragmented attention is not just inconvenient. It rewires the brain. Constant interruption trains neural pathways to crave novelty. Your mind becomes impatient. Your tolerance for sustained thinking shrinks. Your memory weakens. This is not speculation. This is neuroscience. Your attention is currency. Every distraction steals your wealth. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Here is the first rule. Audit your digital environment. Identify every source of distraction. Track when and how often your attention is hijacked. Email, chat apps, notifications, social media, news alerts. Every single source is a drain on focus. Make a list. Analyze it. Decide what stays. Decide what goes. You have a choice. Implement the audit. That is the key. Second rule. Implement control protocols. Silence notifications. Close unused applications. Schedule email and message checks and blocks. Create dedicated focus periods. Protect these periods ruthlessly. Inform colleagues or family of your boundaries. Your attention is not negotiable. Your attention is currency. Every distraction steals your wealth. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Third rule, practice intentional absence. Allow yourself periods where digital devices are removed entirely. 1 hour, 2 hours, for hours. Your brain must practice focus without interruption. The skill does not exist naturally in the digital age. It must be trained. That is the system. That is the discipline. You have a choice. Execute it. That is the key. Consider another case study. A CEO schedules focus blocks each morning. Emails are read only twice daily. Phone calls are limited to essential conversations. In 3 months, project completion increased by 50%. Errors decreased. Strategic thinking improved. This is not magic. This is the application of principles. You have a choice. Apply principles. That is the key. You must also adopt mental reset rituals. After every unavoidable interruption, take a moment to refocus. Breathe. Review your task. Reestablish priority. Do not move to the next task until your mind is fully engaged. This is not optional. This is practice. This is the training of attention. You have a choice. Reinforce it. That is the key. Fragmented attention also creates stress. Constantly switching, responding, and scanning increases cortisol. Your cognitive bandwidth shrinks. You feel busy, but you accomplish little. You feel tired, but you rest poorly. This is the cost of distraction. You have a choice. Reduce the cost. Protect your mind. That is the key. Here is a practical system to rebuild attention. Identify your triggers. Write down what interrupts you most frequently. Visualize how each affects your workflow. Awareness is the first system. Design strict focus periods. 2-hour blocks, 1 task per block, 0 notifications. Discipline is the second system. Record results daily. Track productivity, errors, and clarity. Feedback closes the loop. That is the third system. Adjust environment constantly. Remove new distractions as they appear. Continuous improvement is non-negotiable. You have a choice. You will use this system. You will enforce it. You will protect your attention. Attention is currency. Every distraction steals your wealth. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Reflection is also essential. At the end of each day, review where attention was lost. Identify moments when focus slipped. Decide how to prevent similar interruptions tomorrow. Reflection is not optional. Reflection is discipline. You have a choice. Reflect deliberately. That is the key. The mind is malleable. Neural pathways adjust to repeated behavior. If you allow interruptions, the brain strengthens pathways for distraction. If you enforce focus, the brain strengthens pathways for sustained attention. That is the principle. That is the rule. You have a choice. Strengthen the pathway of focus. That is the key. Internalize the mantra. Your attention is currency. Every distraction steals your wealth. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Repeat it. Make it automatic. Let it guide every choice, every system, every behavior. That is the training. That is the structure. That is the discipline. You have a choice. Follow it. That is the key. To conclude this chapter, you now understand the shocking truth about your fragmented mind. Digital distractions are not harmless. They erode your cognitive power. They fragment attention and reduce productivity. You have been conditioned for interruption. You have learned the systems to regain control. Audit your environment, implement control protocols, practice intentional absence, reinforce focus after interruptions, and reflect daily. Next, you will learn the single thread method, 1 task at a time. You will see how to apply focus deliberately and how to train your brain to complete work without compromise. This is the practice phase. Your mind will transition from fragmentation to precision. That is where training becomes transformation. Chapter 3, 1 task at a time, the single thread method. You have a choice. You can continue scattering your attention across multiple tasks, or you can commit to 1 task fully and deliberately until it is complete. That is the decision. There is no compromise. There is no justification for divided focus. 1 task, 1 focus, 1 result. 1 task, 1 focus, 1 result. 1 task, 1 focus, 1 result. Single tasking is not a suggestion. It is a principle. The brain cannot truly handle multiple complex tasks at once. Attempting to do so guarantees inferior results. It guarantees wasted time. It guarantees mental fatigue. You have a choice. You will respect the principle, or you will continue underperforming. That is the key. Begin with the first rule. Identify your most important task. Not the urgent, not the easiest. The most important. The one that drives results, moves projects forward, or produce is meaningful work. Write it down. Declare it. Commit to it. This is the first step in the single thread method. You have a choice. Complete it fully. That is the key. Next, prepare your environment. Remove distractions. Silence notifications. Close irrelevant applications. Clear the physical space around you. A task completed in chaos is still an incomplete task. Environment is not optional. It is part of the system. You have a choice. Control your surroundings. That is the key. Now begin. Focus on the chosen task exclusively. Do not glance at other projects. Do not check your phone. Do not allow thoughts of other work to intrude. Every interruption resets your mental state. Every context switch comes with a cost. That cost is lost time. That cost is reduced quality. One task, one focus, one result. One task, one focus, one result. One task, one focus, one result. Implement batching for similar tasks. Group related work together. Handle emails in one block. Schedule calls consecutively. Write related reports in a single session. Batching reduces context switching. It allows your mind to flow. It allows focus to compound. You have a choice. Batch your work. That is the key. Determine clear completion criteria. Define what done looks like before starting. Finish fully. Do not leave loose ends. Do not postpone resolution. An incomplete task generates mental clutter. An incomplete task invites fragmentation. Complete the task entirely. One task, one focus, one result. One task, one focus, one result. One task, one focus, one result. Measure your time deliberately. Track how long a single task takes. Record interruptions. Record errors. Use this data to improve focus. The mind responds to feedback. The brain strengthens the neural pathway for sustained attention when progress is observed. You have a choice. Track, measure, improve. That is the key. Apply priority rules consistently. Use a system such as the Eisenhower matrix. Determine what is important versus urgent. Always address the important first. Avoid the trap of responding to distractions under the guise of productivity. One task, one focus, one result. One task, one focus, one result. One task, one focus, one result. You will also employ micro-focus periods. Use intervals of 25 to 50 minutes of uninterrupted attention, followed by a brief pause. The brain requires cycles to maintain intensity. Do not extend focus beyond capacity without a pause. Do not fragment attention with micro-distractions during focus. This is the system. This is the discipline. You have a choice. Execute the intervals. That is the key. Consider professional examples. A writer completes one chapter before editing another. A programmer finishes a module before reviewing another. A surgeon completes one critical step before moving to the next. The common factor, single thread focus. One task, one focus, one result. Repetition ensures mastery. You have a choice. Apply it to your work. That is the key. Interruptions will occur. That is inevitable. When they do, follow a recovery protocol. Pause, breathe, refocus. Reassess the task. Reset priority. Resume with full attention. Do not allow external chaos to dictate internal discipline. The mind that regains focus quickly strengthens faster than the one never interrupted. One task, one focus, one result. One task, one focus, one result. One task, one focus, one result. The single thread method is not theoretical. It is operational. It is a system. Follow these steps. Identify the single most important task. Focus here first. Prepare the environment. Remove all potential interruptions. Define completion. Know what done looks like. Batch-related tasks. Reduce context switching. Schedule micro-focus periods. Work in intervals with breaks. Track and measure. Log time, errors, and interruptions. Recover from interruptions. Pause, reset, and resume full attention. This system transforms attention into results. It converts scattered effort into measurable outcomes. One task completed fully produces more value than 10 tasks completed partially. The principle is simple. The execution is disciplined. You have a choice. Follow the system. That is the key. You will repeat the mantra. One task. One focus. One result. One task. One focus. One result. One task. One focus. One result. Repeat it before beginning work. Repeat it during work. Repeat it after completion. Let it guide your actions. Let it anchor your mind. Let it enforce discipline. That is the training. That is the philosophy. That is the system. You have a choice. Internalize it. That is the key. Notice the effect. Your mind begins to anticipate completion. Each finished task reinforces neural pathways for focus. Each task fully completed increases confidence. Each interruption resisted strengthens attention. This is not chance. This is applied principle. One task, one focus, one result. One task, one focus, one result. One task, one focus, one result. Finally, understand the long-term implication. Multitasking trains your brain for chaos. Single tasking trains your brain for mastery. Every project completed fully compounds skill, clarity, and mental endurance. This is how professionals, thinkers, and creators achieve extraordinary results. Discipline is not optional. It is mandatory. You have a choice. Commit fully. That is the key. To conclude this chapter, you now know the mechanics of single-thread focus. You have learned to identify the most important task, prepare the environment, batch work, define completion, use micro-focus periods, and recover from interruptions. You have internalized the repetition, one task, one focus, one result. You have the system. You have the discipline. You have the choice. Next, you will learn how to silence your environment and silence your mind. You will see how external control supports internal focus and how removing chaos accelerates attention mastery. That is where your mind evolves from disciplined to unstoppable. Chapter 4. Silence your environment. Silence your mind. You have a choice. You can allow your environment to dictate your attention, or you can take control. That is the decision. Your surroundings are either allies or enemies of focus. Noise, notifications, clutter, they are not neutral. They fragment attention. They erode mental clarity. They steal your productivity. You have a choice. Silence external chaos. Silence internal chaos. Silence external chaos. Silence internal chaos. Silence external chaos. Silence internal chaos. External distractions are predictable. They follow patterns. Your phone buzzes. Emails arrive. People interrupt. Social media notifications appear. Even environmental noise, a conversation, a passing vehicle, music can fracture focus. Each disruption triggers the brain to switch context. Each switch consumes mental energy. Each switch reduces effectiveness. That is the cost. You have a choice. Stop paying it. That is the key. The first principle, control your inputs. Every alert is optional. Every notification can be silenced. Your devices are tools. You are not at their mercy. Put your phone on airplane mode during focus periods. Disable notifications for apps that are not critical. Check emails only during scheduled intervals. That is not convenience. That is discipline. That is structure. You have a choice. Enforce it. That is the key. Second principle, create a focus zone. Your environment must support attention. Clear your workspace. Remove clutter. Only keep the tools and materials needed for the task at hand. Visual distractions are as damaging as auditory ones. One open tab, one stray document, one item out of place, it can fragment the mind. Remove them all. Your workspace is a system. Treat it like a lab. Your attention is the experiment. You have a choice. Build the focus zone. That is the key. Third principle, schedule boundaries. Inform colleagues, family, or roommates when you're unavailable. Label your focus periods. Treat these periods as inviolable. During these windows, interruptions are not tolerated. You do not negotiate. You do not apologize. Your attention is currency. Every distraction steals your wealth. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Noise is a silent thief. It is subtle, but persistent. Even background chatter reduces performance on complex tasks. Consider the engineer designing a system while the office hums with conversation. Errors increase. Work slows. Mental fatigue accelerates. Silence is a force multiplier. Silence is not passive. Silence is structured. Silence external chaos. Silence internal chaos. Silence external chaos. Silence internal chaos. Silence external chaos. Silence internal chaos. Digital clutter is equally harmful. Tabs multiply. Windows stack. Notifications accumulate. You open a message mid-task. You glance at a dashboard. You scroll briefly. Each micro-interruption compounds. Hours pass. Work is incomplete. Quality suffers. The environment must be designed for attention. That is the rule. You have a choice. Organize deliberately. That is the key. Phone usage requires strict rules. Keep it out of reach. Keep it on silent or airplane mode. Remove apps that distract you during work periods. Do not use your phone to procrastinate. Do not allow habitual checking to dictate your rhythm. The phone serves you. You do not serve the phone. That is the system. That is the discipline. You have a choice. Enforce it. That is the key. Email and communication must be regimented. Do not check constantly. Schedule blocks, twice or 3 times daily, to handle correspondence. Batch the tasks. Handle multiple messages in one session. Avoid jumping between conversations. Do not allow urgency to replace importance. That is a rule. That is a structure. That is a system. You have a choice. Apply it. That is the key. Physical environment matters. Noise-canceling headphones, closed doors, and dedicated spaces amplify focus. If working from home, designate a room, corner, or desk strictly for focus. Remove personal distractions. Separate work from leisure physically. Your brain associates space with function. Leverage this principle. Your environment will reinforce your attention. You have a choice. Implement it. That is the key. Visual cues are also critical. A cluttered desk leads to a cluttered mind. Every item competes for attention. Papers, books, devices, reminders. Remove anything not relevant to the current task. Keep the workspace minimal. Your mind will follow your environment. That is the rule. That is the principle. That is the system. You have a choice. Follow it. That is the key. Consider a professional example. A writer closes all tabs except the document. Phone is in another room. Door is closed. Calendar indicates focus periods. Work is completed faster, with higher quality and less fatigue. A developer using a similar setup finishes modules with fewer errors. A surgeon in an operating room is undisturbed. Attention is concentrated. Results are maximized. Discipline is environmental. You have a choice. Replicate it. That is the key. Noise, clutter, and digital interruptions do not vanish naturally. They must be actively controlled. That requires awareness, discipline, and systems. You will audit your environment daily. Remove sources of interruption. Create the focus zone. Schedule communication. Silence unnecessary noise. Implement these rules without exception. Repetition reinforces the habit. Repetition strengthens the neural pathway of attention. Silence external chaos. Silence internal chaos. Silence external chaos. Silence internal chaos. Silence external chaos. Silence internal chaos. Recovery protocols are necessary. When an interruption occurs despite controls, pause. Assess. Refocus deliberately. Do not continue with divided attention. Recover immediately. One recovered focus session is worth more than multiple distracted attempts. Build resilience. Build habit. Build discipline. You have a choice. Reinforce it. That is the key. Internalize the mantra. Silence external chaos. Silence internal chaos. Silence external chaos. Silence internal chaos. Silence external chaos. Silence internal chaos. Repeat it. Let guide your systems. Let anchor your behavior. Let condition your mind. Your environment and mind act together. Control one, and the other follows. That is the principle. That is the structure. That is the system. You have a choice. Follow it. That is the key. To conclude this chapter, you now understand how external triggers, noise, notifications, clutter, fracture attention. You have learned the systems to control them. Airplane mode, scheduled communication, a dedicated focus zone, physical separation, visual simplicity, and recovery protocols. You have internalized the mantra. Silence external chaos. Silence internal chaos. Discipline your surroundings, and your mind will follow. Next, you will learn how to build mental muscle through daily focus exercises. You will train your attention like a muscle, strengthening it through repeated, deliberate practice. That is where sustained focus becomes automatic. Chapter 5. Build mental muscle, daily focus exercises. You have a choice. You can allow your attention to remain weak, scattered, and easily hijacked, or you can strengthen it deliberately like a muscle. That is the decision. Discipline is the exercise. Focus is the result. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. Attention is not automatic. It must be exercised. Neural pathways strengthen through repetition and resistance. Just as physical muscles require weight and tension, your mind requires uninterrupted, deliberate work. Every distraction avoided. Every task completed fully. Every period of concentrated thought builds mental endurance. You have a choice. You will exercise focus. That is the key. The first exercise, Pomodoro training. Set a timer for 25 to 50 minutes. Work on a single task. Do not move. Do not check messages. Do not glance at notifications. When the timer ends, take a 5-minute pause. Repeat the cycle. Gradually increase the duration as mental stamina improves. This is the system. This is the discipline. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. Second exercise. Meditation for attention control. Sit quietly. Focus on the breath. When thoughts intrude, acknowledge them and return to the breath. No judgment. No distraction. 10 minutes per day is sufficient to begin. The skill compounds over weeks. Attention becomes more resilient. Mental clarity increases. You have a choice. Meditate deliberately. That is the key. Third exercise, deep reading. Choose material that challenges comprehension. Avoid skimming. Take notes. Pause to reflect. Avoid multitasking. This is not leisure reading. This is training. One chapter completed with full focus strengthens neural pathways. The brain learns to maintain sustained attention. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. Combine exercises into a daily routine. Morning focus block. Pomodoro session on the most important task. Midday reset. Brief meditation or reflection. Evening session. Deep reading or learning. Document progress. Track interruptions. Adjust intensity. Build consistency. Mental strength is cumulative. You have a choice. Follow the routine. That is the key. Consider real-world examples. CEOs schedule uninterrupted work periods each morning. Writers complete hours of writing without digital interruption. Athletes visualize and plan without distraction. All of them train focus daily. This is not optional. This is not situational. This is deliberate conditioning. You have a choice. Emulate their method. That is the key. Another principle. Resist digital temptation during exercises. Even brief glances at a phone reset attention. One glance destroys the neural pathway you are strengthening. Keep devices out of reach. Silence notifications. The mind is trained through consistency. Every lapse weakens progress. Every uninterrupted session strengthens it. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. Track performance quantitatively. Time each focus session. Note interruptions. Log output or comprehension. Evaluate daily. Adjust intervals or exercises based on results. This is feedback. Feedback reinforces growth. Feedback strengthens attention. You have a choice. Measure progress. That is the key. Introduce mental warm-ups. Before starting a focus session, take 1 minute to plan and visualize the task. Identify obstacles. Commit to uninterrupted attention. This primes the brain. Attention flows faster. Results improve. Warm-ups are a small system with large effect. You have a choice. Implement them. That is the key. Consider a layered approach. Begin with short sessions. 1 Pomodoro, 1 meditation, 1 chapter of deep reading. Build endurance gradually. Extend sessions weekly. Track performance improvements. Strength compounds. Neural pathways strengthen. Attention grows resilient. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. You will also integrate recovery periods. Mental fatigue occurs. Focus cannot be sustained indefinitely. Short breaks, stretching, walking, or breathing allow neural reset. Avoid engaging with distractions during breaks. Use them to restore, not scatter attention. Recovery is part of the system. You have a choice. Respect it. That is the key. A professional example. A CEO schedules 3 focus periods per day. Morning, strategic planning. Midday, project review. Afternoon, creative problem solving. Each session begins with 1 minute of visualization. No interruptions. Performance improves dramatically over 3 months. Errors decrease. Decision-making sharpens. The system works because focus is treated as a muscle, not a tool. You have a choice. Implement the system. That is the key. Another principle, mental endurance under stress. When deadlines pressure you, attention is tested. Use the exercises to train resilience. Maintain single-task focus despite noise or urgency. The mind adapts. Focus becomes automatic. Distraction loses its grip. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. The key, reinforcement. Repetition strengthens both mind and habit. Repeat exercises daily. Repeat the mantra. Repeat the systems. Repeat the process. Build mental muscle like a disciplined athlete. The results compound. You have a choice. Repeat relentlessly. That is the key. Internalize the mantra. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. Let guide behavior. Let condition the mind. Let it enforce discipline. Focus becomes natural, resistant to interruptions, and sustainable. This is the transformation. You have a choice. Internalize it. That is the key. To conclude this chapter, you now understand that attention is a skill that can be trained. You have learned practical exercises, Pomodoro sessions, meditation, deep reading, mental warm-ups, recovery periods, and measurement of performance. You have seen examples of professionals who apply these systems consistently. You have internalized repetition and mantra. Your focus is a muscle. Train it daily. That is the principle. That is the system. That is the rule. You have a choice. Apply it. That is the key. Next, you will learn how to kill the urgency addiction and reclaim your attention. You will discover how constant demands and false urgencies drain focus, and how to systematically prioritize what is important over what screams for immediate reaction. That is where control over attention becomes sustainable and unstoppable. Chapter 6. Kill the urgency addiction. Reclaim your attention. You have a choice. You can allow every alert, every message, every demand to hijack your mind, or you can reclaim control. That is the decision. Urgency is a thief. It steals time, clarity, and energy. It masquerades as importance. It hijacks mental bandwidth. You have a choice. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Understand the principle. Urgency is often manufactured. Emails, notifications, texts, meetings, they all create the illusion that immediate action is required. Your brain responds. Attention is pulled. Decisions are rushed. Mental resources are depleted. This is the cost. Your attention is currency. Every urgent distraction steals your wealth. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. The first rule: distinguish urgent from important. Not every task demanding immediate action is critical. Important work moves you forward. Urgent work only demands reaction. Do not confuse motion with progress. Use a simple principle. Assess each task before engagement. Does it advance your goals? Does it require immediate attention? If not, schedule it. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. The Eisenhower matrix is a system for prioritization. Divide tasks into 4 categories. Important and urgent, do immediately. Important but not urgent, schedule deliberately. Urgent but not important, delegate or minimize. Neither urgent nor important, eliminate entirely. This is a structure, a system, a discipline. Follow it consistently. It filters noise from signal, protects attention, preserves mental bandwidth. You have a choice. Apply it. That is the key. Next, implement scheduled attention blocks. Assign specific times for tasks based on priority. Handle emails during designated periods. Complete creative work during high-focus intervals. Limit meetings to planned blocks. Avoid reacting to ad hoc urgencies. Scheduled attention reinforces control. Scheduled attention preserves focus. Your attention is currency. Every interruption steals wealth. You have a choice. Commit to blocks. That is the key. Another rule: resist the compulsion to respond immediately. Not every message demands instant action. Not every notification requires inspection. The world does not control your schedule. You do. Pause. Assess. Decide. Prioritize. Respond according to the plan, not the impulse. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Consider the consequences of surrendering to urgency. Professionals constantly reacting to emails and messages report higher stress, decreased productivity, and lower quality of work. High-stakes projects fail when attention is divided. Decisions made under the pressure of manufacturer urgency are often flawed. You have a choice. Stop reacting compulsively. That is the key. Implement a daily review system. At the start of each day, list every task. Categorize by importance and urgency. Schedule blocks. Remove items that are neither. At the end of the day, review adherence. Adjust the following day. Feedback reinforces discipline. Consistency strengthens mental bandwidth. Attention becomes resistant to false urgency. You have a choice. Execute the review. That is the key. Use visual cues and reminders. Place a simple note or digital reminder. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Repeat it before engaging with any new task. Repeat it during work sessions. Repeat it after completion. Mantra repetition rewires the mind. It reinforces priority over compulsion. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Case study. A senior executive schedules attention blocks for strategic planning in the morning. Emails are checked only twice per day. Meetings are pre-scheduled in 2-hour blocks. Urgent distractions are deferred, delegated, or eliminated. Over 3 months, project completion improves, decision quality increases, and stress decreases. This is not luck. This is system. This is discipline. You have a choice. Implement the same system. That is the key. Another system. Decision threshold for urgency. Before acting, ask, will this action move me closer to an important outcome, or merely satisfy a perceived immediate need? If it does not advance importance, defer or delegate. This is binary. This is clear. Do not rationalize urgency. Do not negotiate with distraction. Your mind follows rules. You have a choice. Apply thresholds. That is the key. Training mental bandwidth requires repetition and reflection. Every day, confront the impulses of urgency. Delay reaction. Prioritize importance. Complete tasks in scheduled intervals. Note the impact on clarity, productivity, and mental fatigue. Over weeks, resistance to false urgency strengthens. Focus becomes automatic. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Another principle. Protect high-value work at all costs. Identify tasks that generate significant results. Do not allow them to be interrupted by minor urgencies. Schedule these periods in your prime focus windows. Guard them as inviolable. Treat them as sacred. Every protected period compounds attention, skill, and output. Attention is currency. Every distraction steals your wealth. You have a choice. Protect it. That is the key. Physical environment supports urgency control. Silence phones. Close tabs unrelated to priority tasks. Communicate boundaries clearly. Inform others that focus periods are non-negotiable. Your environment should reinforce the system, not undermine it. That is structure. That is discipline. You have a choice. Apply it. That is the key. Internalize the mantra, not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. Repeat it aloud. Repeat it mentally. Repeat it before each task. Let it guide decision-making. Let it enforce discipline. Let it train the mind to resist false urgency. You have a choice. Follow it. That is the key. To conclude this chapter, You now understand that constant, urgent tasks hijack mental bandwidth. You have learned systems to counter them. The Eisenhower matrix, scheduled attention blocks, decision thresholds, daily review, and mantra repetition. You have seen the consequences of surrendering to urgency and the benefits of prioritization. Your mind is now capable of distinguishing importance from compulsion. Attention is currency. Every distraction steals your wealth. Not everything is urgent. Choose focus over frenzy. That is the principle. That is the system. That is the rule. You have a choice. Apply it. That is the key. Next, you will learn the power of micro-habits for mega-focus. You will discover how small, repeated actions compound into sustained attention and mental endurance. That is where focus becomes automatic, habitual, and unstoppable. Chapter 7. The Power of Micro-Habits for Mega-Focus. You have a choice. You can wait for grand changes, or you can act on the small, deliberate steps that compound into mastery. That is the decision. Focus is strengthened in repetition. Attention is built in increments. The mind is trained through consistency, not intensity alone. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Large efforts fail without structure. Big promises collapse under distraction. The brain is not designed to sustain massive bursts of focus without preparation. Small, repeated actions reinforce neural pathways. They build resilience. They compound into mental endurance. You have a choice. Act in micro-habits. That is the key. The first micro-habit, 5-minute deep focus blocks. Commit to one task for 5 uninterrupted minutes. No phone, no notifications, no distraction. Focus entirely on a single objective. This is a training seed. Over time, extend to 10, 15, 20 minutes. Your attention strengthens gradually. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Second micro-habit, morning attention ritual. Begin the day with deliberate focus. Review your most important tasks. Visualize completion. Breathe. Align your mind with priority before external demands appear. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Enough to signal to the brain that attention is required. This sets the tone. This primes focus. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Third micro-habit, evening reflection. End the day by reviewing accomplishments and disruptions. Identify moments of distraction. Note improvements. Plan corrective adjustments for tomorrow. Reflection trains the brain to recognize patterns and reinforce discipline. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Consistency is the principle. Micro habits must be performed daily. Missing one day weakens the chain. Performing them regularly compounds focus. Neural pathways for attention strengthen. Impulse control improves. Mental endurance expands. You have a choice. Execute micro habits daily. That is the key. Consider real-world examples. A CEO begins each morning with a 10-minute review of the day's priorities. A writer schedules a 5-minute focus block before extended writing sessions. An athlete performs a mental rehearsal of focus and visualization each day. Over weeks, these tiny actions dramatically improve sustained attention, efficiency, and output. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Another principle, stack habits for compounding effect. Combine small practices. Morning visualization, 5-minute focus block, task prioritization, evening reflection. Each habit reinforces the other. Attention strengthens exponentially. Systems compound. Distraction weakens. You have a choice. Stack habits. That is the key. Micro habits are measurable. Track performance daily. No duration, quality, interruptions, and adherence. Use simple logs, notebooks, or digital tracking tools. Feedback is the engine of growth. Neural pathways strengthen when performance is measured and reinforced. You have a choice. Track rigorously. That is the key. Implement environmental supports. Pair micro habits with physical cues. Morning focus ritual at a clean desk. Evening reflection with lights dimmed, phone silent. Small environmental cues anchor habits. They reduce friction. They reinforce consistency. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Recovery is part of the system. Even micro habits require rest. Mental fatigue reduces efficacy. Take short breaks between blocks. Stand, stretch, breathe, reset, then return to the habit. Training attention is cumulative. Every session matters. Every repetition counts. You have a choice. Respect recovery. That is the key. Micro habits also reduce overwhelm. A 5-minute task is achievable. A 10-minute meditation is manageable. Small wins build momentum. The brain experiences mastery early and often. This encourages repetition. Progress compounds. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Introduce a rule for scaling. Begin with manageable increments. Once consistency is established, extend duration or complexity. Increase focus intervals, intensity of reflection, or challenge of tasks. Growth is incremental. Progress is systematic. Habits scale naturally. You have a choice. Scale deliberately. That is the key. Accountability reinforces micro habits. Share progress with a colleague, friend, or digital system. Confirm completion daily. Accountability strengthens neural commitment. The mind becomes conditioned to respect focus periods. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Consider the psychology. Micro habits bypass resistance. The brain avoids change when perceived as effortful. Small, repeated actions bypass procrastination. The system reduces friction. Consistency is maintained. Results compound silently over weeks. You have a choice. Begin small. Begin daily. That is the key. Internalize the mantra, small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Small habits, massive results. Repeat it before performing each micro habit. Repeat it during. Repeat it after. Let guide behavior. Let anchor decisions. Let enforce discipline. Focus compounds in small increments. Mental endurance grows automatically. You have a choice. Internalize it. That is the key. To conclude this chapter, you now understand the power of micro habits for sustained attention. You have learned exercises including 5-minute deep focus blocks, morning attention rituals, and evening reflection. You have seen examples of how small, repeated changes drastically improve attention over weeks. You have internalized the repetition. Small habits, massive results. That is the principle. That is the system. That is the rule. You have a choice. Apply it. That is the key. Next, you will learn how to automate discipline and rely on systems instead of willpower. You will discover how rules, structures, and repetition make focus automatic. That is where attention becomes unstoppable and self-sustaining. Chapter 8. Automate discipline. Systems beat willpower. You have a choice. You can rely on fleeting willpower, hoping motivation will appear. Or you can design systems that enforce discipline automatically. That is the decision. Willpower is limited. Willpower falters. Systems endure. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Understand the principle. Motivation is temporary. It fluctuates with energy, mood, and external circumstances. Some days it is high. Some days it is low. Relying on motivation alone ensures inconsistency. It guarantees failure over the long term. Systems, however, operate independently of mood. They enforce action automatically. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. The first rule: design routines that structure every day. Schedule critical tasks at the same time daily. Morning focus blocks. Midday reflection. Evening review. Habitual scheduling converts intention into automatic action. The brain learns rhythm. Attention flows predictably. Systems replace decision fatigue. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Second rule: use checklists to enforce consistency. Every essential action is recorded. Checklists remove ambiguity. They ensure no step is skipped. They track completion objectively. They convert intention into execution. One checklist governs each focus block, each project, each habit. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Third rule: design the environment for automatic focus. Remove distractions. Arrange tools and materials for immediate use. Reduce friction for desired actions. Increase friction for undesired actions. Phones in another room. Notifications disabled. Focus zones clearly defined. The environment enforces discipline. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Consider real-world examples. An author begins every morning with the same writing routine. Coffee prepared. Desk cleared. Phone silent. 10 pages written before noon. Willpower is irrelevant. The system dictates action. An entrepreneur uses daily checklists to manage tasks, ensuring every critical action is executed without relying on mood. An athlete follows a regimented training schedule. Diet, sleep, practice all automated. Performance is consistent. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Another principle: habit stacking converts small systems into large outcomes. Combine micro-habits into structured routines. Morning visualization. 5-minute focus block. High-priority task completion. Evening reflection. The system compounds results over time. Small, repeated actions become automatic. Focus strengthens. Productivity compounds. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Decision-making consumes mental energy. Willpower declines with each choice. Systems eliminate unnecessary decisions. Predefined rules govern behavior. Automated responses replace deliberation. One path of action, repeated daily, strengthens attention and output. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Accountability systems amplify discipline. Tracking, reporting, and feedback ensure adherence. Completion is recorded, measured, and reviewed. Accountability converts intention into reality. It reinforces the neural pathways of attention. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Recovery must also be systematized. Schedule breaks, sleep, and restoration deliberately. Mental endurance is not sustainable without recovery. Microsystems for rest prevent burnout. Fatigue is mitigated. Performance stabilizes. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Consider the practical workflow. Morning system, focus block, priority task, micro-habit integration. Midday system, review progress, short meditation, environmental reset. Evening system, reflection, task auditing, planning for the next day. Support systems, checklists, scheduled notifications, environmental cues, accountability tracking. Each layer reinforces the others. One system alone is effective. Combined systems are unstoppable. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Resistance is inevitable. Willpower alone cannot overcome it consistently. Systems absorb resistance. They enforce action despite fatigue, mood, or distraction. Systems remove reliance on heroics, courage, or fleeting motivation. Systems create permanence. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Internalize the mantra. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Repeat it daily. Repeat it during focus blocks. Repeat it when designing routines or checklists. Let it guide every decision. Let it anchor discipline. Let reinforce training. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Real-world results are measurable. Authors using disciplined routines write thousands of pages over a year. Entrepreneurs executing checklists complete projects efficiently and predictably. Athletes adhering to structured practice schedules improve skill consistently. Willpower fluctuates. Systems do not. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Another principle: simplify systems for sustainability. Complexity breeds failure. Redundancy drains attention. Focus on rules that cover the essential actions. Reduce friction. Automate what can be automated. Enforce only what is necessary. Simplicity amplifies effectiveness. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Measurement and feedback are essential. Track adherence, output, and effectiveness. Adjust systems based on results. Incremental improvements compound. Systems evolve. Attention grows resistant to distraction. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. To conclude this chapter, you now understand that motivation is unreliable. You have learned the superiority of systems. Routines, checklists, environmental design, habit stacking, recovery, and accountability. You have seen real-world examples of authors, entrepreneurs, and athletes who succeed by system, not willpower. You have internalized the mantra, systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Systems win. Willpower fades. Discipline becomes automatic. Action becomes inevitable. Results become consistent. You have a choice. Apply it. That is the key. Next, you will learn how to protect your attention over a lifetime through daily reinforcement, reflection, and system refinement. That is where focus becomes unstoppable, habitual, and lifelong. Chapter 9. Finish what you start. The completion habit. You have a choice. You can leave tasks half done, open loops lingering in your mind, or you can enforce completion. That is the decision. Unfinished work consumes mental energy. It fragments attention. It creates stress. It steals focus for other tasks. You have a choice. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Understand the principle. Every incomplete task is a mental anchor. Your brain continues to monitor it subconsciously. This occupies bandwidth, reduces creativity, increases fatigue. Productivity suffers. Emotional tension increases. Every open loop is a drain. You have a choice. close it. That is the key. The first rule, batch-related tasks. Group similar work together. Complete them in uninterrupted focus blocks. Avoid switching between different types of work midstream. Batching minimizes cognitive load. It accelerates execution. Tasks finish faster. Completion becomes habitual. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Second rule, implement focus sprints. Assign dedicated, timed intervals for completing specific tasks. Work without interruption until the sprint ends. Avoid distractions. Resist context switching. One sprint can finish a report, a module, a draft, or project step. Small wins compound. Momentum builds. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Third rule, visual completion tracking. Use checklists, boards, or logs to mark finished tasks. Seeing progress reinforces action. It strengthens the neural pathways of completion. The mind rewards closure. Open loops create tension. Closed loops create clarity. Systems support habit formation. You have a choice. Track visually. That is the key. Prioritize unfinished work. Each day, identify lingering tasks. Complete them before starting new projects. Avoid initiating work while open loops persist. New tasks with unresolved old tasks fragment attention. Completion consolidates energy. Completion reinforces control. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Consider professional examples. A writer completes each chapter fully before editing the next. An entrepreneur finishes a client proposal before attending to emails. An athlete completes a training circuit entirely before moving to a new exercise. The principle is universal. Finishing what you start maximizes efficiency, reduces mental friction, and strengthens focus. You have a choice. Apply it. That is the key. Introduce a daily completion ritual. Begin each day by listing unfinished tasks from the previous day. Schedule time to close them. Track completion visually. Reflect at the end of the day on what was finished and what remains. This daily reinforcement builds the habit of closure. Neural pathways for completion are strengthened. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Another system. Limit multitasking to enforce completion. Each focus block should have one primary objective. Secondary tasks are deferred to later blocks. Avoid partial attention. Complete tasks fully within the time allocated. One task, one focus, one finish. Momentum compounds. Mental clarity grows. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Open loops also affect decision-making. Every incomplete task creates cognitive residue. Decisions become slower. Focus erodes. Stress accumulates. Completing tasks frees bandwidth. It restores energy. It enables sharper, faster decisions. You have a choice. Close the loops. That is the key. Use incremental closure for large projects. Break work into clear steps. Each step must be completed fully before moving to the next. Avoid jumping ahead. Each finished step reinforces momentum. Each closed loop reduces mental clutter. Completion scales up. Systems reinforce habit. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Recovery is part of the system. After completing a task, take a brief pause. Reflect. Reset. Use this recovery to reinforce satisfaction and readiness for the next task. Mental endurance increases. Energy stabilizes. Focus remains sharp. Systems support the habit of completion. You have a choice. Reinforce it. That is the key. Accountability strengthens closure. Track unfinished versus finished tasks daily. Review progress weekly. Adjust systems for greater completion efficiency. Make every closed loop a measurable success. Habit becomes automatic. Neural pathways for attention consolidate. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Micro habits support completion. 5-minute focus blocks can finish small tasks entirely. Mini sprints can close sections of larger projects. Morning rituals can prioritize closure before initiation of new work. Evening reflection ensures that lingering tasks are addressed. Habits compound. Completion becomes automatic. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Internalize the mantra. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Repeat before each task. Repeat during execution. Repeat after completion. Let guide action. Let anchor discipline. Let it condition the mind. Attention becomes clear. Mental energy is preserved. Tasks are completed efficiently. You have a choice. Internalize it. That is the key. To conclude this chapter, you now understand the mental cost of unfinished tasks and open loops. You have learned systems to enforce completion, task batching, focus sprints, visual tracking, incremental closure, and micro habits. You have seen professional examples demonstrating the power of finishing what you start. You have internalized the repetition. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Finish it. Close the loop. Completion consolidates attention, energy, and mental clarity. You have a choice. Apply it. That is the key. Next, you will learn how to maintain attention mastery permanently through lifelong systems, reflection, and reinforcement. That is where focus becomes habitual, unstoppable, and a defining skill of your life. Chapter 10. Your Focus Future, a 30-day laser plan. You have a choice. You can continue drifting through tasks, distracted and reactive, or you can take control of your mind for the next 30 days. That is the decision. Focus is a skill. Attention is a habit. Discipline compounds over time. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. This is your plan. A structured system to reclaim attention, build mental endurance, and complete tasks with precision. It is actionable. It is measurable. It is repeatable. It is designed to form habit, not rely on willpower. Every day follows the same principle: deliberate focus, task prioritization, and reflection. You have a choice. Follow it. That is the key. Begin each day with a structured ritual. This sets the tone for attention mastery. Start immediately upon waking. 5 minutes of meditation or breathing exercises. Clear the mind. Signal to your brain that focus is required. Reset mental energy. Priority task identification. Select the most important task for the day. Write down. Visualize completing it fully. This is your anchor task. One task. One focus. One result. Environmental check. Clear workspace. Silence phone. Remove distractions. Establish the focus zone. The environment enforces discipline. Systems win. Willpower fades. Begin the ritual without variation. Repetition strengthens neural pathways. Consistency trains the brain to expect focus. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. Task prioritization. Each day, break work into clear priorities. Apply the systems learned. Eisenhower matrix. Identify important versus urgent. Handle high-impact tasks first. Delegate or defer what is not essential. Batch similar tasks. Avoid context switching, group emails, calls, or reporting into focus blocks. Efficiency compounds, focus sprints. Assign time blocks for high-priority work. Work without distraction until the block ends. Micro breaks follow. Recovery is built into the system. Track completion visually. Use a journal, spreadsheet, or task board. Each finished task reinforces discipline. Open loops create tension. Closed loops create clarity. Neural pathways strengthen through repetition. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. Evening reflection. End each day with structured reflection. This consolidates learning and reinforces attention. Review completed tasks. Mark them as finished. Celebrate closure. Neural reinforcement occurs with completion. Identify distractions or failures. Note interruptions, loss of focus, or incomplete work. These are data, not excuses. Data informs improvement. Plan for the next day. Carry over unfinished priority tasks. Schedule attention blocks. Stack micro habits for the following morning. Reflection closes loops. Daily reflection ensures incremental growth. Mental clarity improves. Focus compounds. Systems replace willpower. Discipline becomes automatic. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. Measurement and accountability. Track progress meticulously. Measurement creates feedback. Feedback strengthens habit. Use simple metrics. Number of completed priority tasks per day. Duration of uninterrupted focus blocks. Frequency of distractions avoided. Journaling daily ensures accountability. Record wins, failures, and observations. Review weekly to adjust routines. Systems evolve based on measurable data. This is not optional. It is structural. It is how attention mastery becomes permanent. Compound micro-habits. Integrate micro-habits consistently. 5-minute focus warm-up before each priority task. Morning visualization and breathing. Evening reflection and journaling. Environment reset before every focus session. Small actions compound into significant gains. Daily repetition trains neural pathways. Attention grows resistant to distractions. Mental clarity expands. One task, one focus, one result. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. Consider a CEO using a similar system. Morning visualization, structured focus blocks, and nightly review. A writer completing chapters daily, regardless of mood. An athlete training with scheduled practice, recovery, and reflection. All rely on systems, not willpower. Results are consistent, measurable, and cumulative. You have a choice. Emulate the system. That is the key. Final instructions. Follow the ritual every morning without exception. Prioritize and batch tasks throughout the day. Conduct nightly reflection. Record progress daily. Adjust systems weekly based on results. At the end of 30 days, assess results. Evaluate attention, productivity, and mental clarity. The brain has formed new neural pathways for sustained focus. Habits are reinforced. Systems are internalized. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus. 30 days. One task at a time. Laser focus.